Hey guys, and this is Cat Demon 43, and welcome back to another episode on what I believe is going to be the final one for the letter. And I am so sorry it took so long to get to this. Really just starting out, trying to figure everything out, and also just personal stuff in life, just when it comes to doing the recordings and everything. So, yeah, but I think we're finally in the final bit for Luke, and to get to the true ending. So, yeah, enough babbling. Let's see how it goes. There's a moment of panic when the feeling of the tendrils around my limbs finally dissipates. As soon as my eyes adjust to the darkness of the room and I'm on my feet, I'm reaching for my knife and holding it out, watching, waiting for every movement. Using it as a way to put distance between me and these peasants. Who knows what they'll do to me, now that they know what I've done. There's only 4 of us in this room, 3 of them, friends at that, and only me. I cannot trust these people not to turn on me. I cannot trust anyone. Not anymore. Not after this. Despite the pleading looks Lily shoots my way, while they all huddle in the corner behind steel, I have to remind myself that even people like her are capable of doing the unpleasant. She's only human, after all. It's never an excuse why even Hana has her cunning, manipulative moments, though she does it much more subtly. I think it should be subtly. Oh well. More subtle than I. Why else would Lily show this letter to us that day if not to save herself? I guess that backfired on her now that she and her own friends are stuck here. Still, I have every right to be livid. Everything that I've built has fallen apart. My wife, my children, all because these people came into our lives. No, that's because you put a knife into your wife's back.
You 3, all of you! This is all your fault!
Chill, dude.
If I'm dying to this bloody case, I'm taking you all down with me!
Oh, Jesus Christ. Also, Rebecca's having none of it.
Hey now, Mr. Wright. I know the situation ain't good, but we have to calm down. All in the same boat here.
You shut your mouth! If it weren't for you, or this letter, for all of you, none of this would have happened! Hana would still be!
Suddenly, Daisy steps up and slaps the knife away from my hand.
Don't you dare, Luke! Don't you dare put that blame on us!
Yes. Thank you. Reason! Without batting an eye, glaring at me as if she might just rip my head off in this instant. Said knife slides uselessly under the table, out of my reach. I should have expected she's not the kind to submit even under threat. For all the black man's height right now, all of us appears smaller, facing her anger.
Last I checked, we're not the one whose hands have been stained with his wife's own blood!
And what about your friend over there? Are you saying she is responsible for this mess? For the lives this sorting letter took? Dragging other people into her own problems just so she could save her little sorry self? You think I haven't seen that before? Getting real tired of your double standards, Daisy!
You know this curse is an entirely different issue from what you've done, Luke. Because, knowing you, I don't doubt that even without that blasted letter, you would have eventually...
Rebecca, stop! All of you stop this!
To hear Lily speak out loud, I can't say I'm not surprised. She has always given me the impression of someone so meek from the moment I've met her, either from her experience or her situation in life. She's never struck me as someone fitting to be a real estate agent. If anything, the meltdown she had during the open house had only proven my assumptions. Until now. Quietly, she puts herself between me and Daisy, cutting whatever scathing words we've yet to hurl at one another. The way she glares at me, it reminds me a little of the way my own mum would look at me, particularly when I've done something wrong. And now it's not a stare she's unused to showing. She has done this before, probably to a younger sibling. Oh yeah, she's got several. If she only sees us now as a pair of squabbling kids, and not two mature adults, well, that's only to be expected. No doubt that's how she sees us. For a long moment, there's only silence in the room. Steele, the big oaf, doesn't even dare break it, merely watching the three of us behind two women who he towers over significantly. Too soft. Not that it matters when Lily starts speaking again, after some of the anger and the tension has lifted from the room.
Stop this, please! With or without that damn piece of paper,
A deep breath. An exhale. And then she closes her eyes, a crease forming between her eyebrows, while she grips her hand tightly in front of her.
We still would have ended up in this mess.
Yeah, probably. The atmosphere that descends into the room right after that, admission, is anything but pleasant. Can I call it that? An admission? It seems like it from the way her eyes nervously flick between her and her friends and I. She appears to know more than she lets on, and how she makes herself appear smaller after dropping that bomb on us doesn't sit quite well with me. Impatience is something I don't have the luxury of having right now and bestowing upon other people. What else does this girl know? What else is she not telling us? Because from the looks of this, even her friends has no idea what she's talking about. Unwilling to wait, I grab her arm before she retreats with that explanation, waving the letter still in my hand in front of her.
Ow! Sir, you're hurting me!
Luke, will you stop taking it out on every single person?
Your friend is hiding something, Daisy.
She struggles for a moment, but my hold eventually forces her to look up at me. Fear and uncertainty spreads across her features, especially when her eyes lands on the damned paper. As much as I want to be considerate right now, I want answers.
What do you mean, Lily?
I'm not sure about it.
Don't give me that, you know something!
Ow! Please, sir! I know the paper's useless, okay? Those people they mentioned in the news lately, all those who died, my co-workers, the open house clients, none of them had seen it, even Rose, and yet they're all dead. I should know, sir. That letter has been with me since I picked it up. And I swear I didn't make copies of this thing. Even if I wanted to save myself, I wouldn't do that to my friends. Or anyone.
And yet we're all here! Are you taking me for a fool, Lily?
We would have ended up here either way. Maybe? I really don't know. Sir, please. All I know is that paper isn't the reason why all of this is happening. There's something else that...
This place.
Steele has been quiet this entire time. The sound of him talking, however whispered it is, still manages to catch us all off guard. We all pause, turning to him with likely the same questions in our eyes.
What?
I just remembered something, a friend told me. You know, stuff about ghosts or curses. You probably don't want to hear it.
No, it might be something. What about this place, Zach? Maybe it's also the reason why Ash went here.
There's still a moment of hesitation in him, but the mention of their dead friend appears enough reason to spur him into speaking.
Remember what I told you the last time you and Ash visited? A few days ago?
A pause while he allows Lily to remember. Soon enough, whatever it dawns on her, her face lights up with something like hope. Of all things, in this nightmare, hope? Her head snaps up as she reaches for Steele's arm and gave it a squeeze. A reassurance or a confirmation? The meaning is lost even to Daisy, who glances at them baffled.
Belle, what are you...
Becca, it's this place. Think about it.
Then, they proceed to tell some ridiculous narrative about the supernatural. Stories about ghosts, legends, curses born out of great anger and pain, and whatever else people used to scare children. Not that I believe any of it, as if knowing will help. Bunch of loons, these people, officially off their rockers. To think I'll be stuck in this nightmare with people like them. What did I ever do to the world? A lot. Of course, it's all absurd until...
I think it's just like what the professor guy said. Just like that old story. This mansion and some other thing might be keeping her here. You know, something he wanted in life, but never got to have. Something like that.
Or maybe it's not something, Zachary.
Someone. The who doesn't have to be uttered aloud. There's only one person in the room who that woman calls for. Every single one of them has heard it. Bloody hell. It's in the reluctant shift in Daisy's eyes when they flicker over to me, though only briefly. She's also holding information on her own, or perhaps a realization she just had. Doesn't matter. I know when people have slowly started to turn on me. How do they think I lasted in this cutthroat world? Betray them before they do the same thing to you. Put a knife to their back before they can act. Kill or be killed. Survival in a nutshell. Why did they think I put Hana out of the picture before she can cry for help and ruin everything? What now? Are they going to throw me at the creature? See what happens to save themselves? I am no fool.
No. You're all in on this, aren't you? Of course! Of fucking course!
Luke, that isn't what I...
My hands are already on the door, pushing it open before she finishes. Betrayal or not, this isn't anything new. They may not be thinking of it right now, but eventually. Trapped in this nightmare, the first thing to do is put a distance between us before a plan even hatches in their minds. There's 3 of them. Only 1 of me. I have to get out of here, find an exit to this place, or a way to get rid of each of them. But karma, the damn thing, seems to be at work here. Because when the door swings open and I barrel into the next room, there's only a reminder of the blood I've shed. Of her. Of them.
You don't have to do this! You can still have it all, Luke! Just please! Don't you love me?
It's not only her sobs that I hear, but his. Hers. Theirs. I'll never know, now will I, what kind of life I would have lived with them? If I will ever be a father better than my own? But I suppose I have my answer now. I killed them after all. It's their blood that stains my hands in this room.
We would have been so beautiful.
By my own doing, I've ended all of it, even before anything has begun. Now their blood drips from every wall, pooling at every inch of the floor, leaving a sorry mess at the hem of my pants with every step I take into the room. Like the cold, suffocating embrace of my sins, the dread from the sight creeps up my limbs, slow and unhurried, twisting and turning. Up and goes until nothing but a sharp, guttural cry escapes from my mouth and a realization. It hits me like a gut punch, sending my knees buckling and the rest of me sprawling. Behind me, Daisy shouts, a worried cry, running into the room and placing a comforting hand on my shoulder. Following after her are Lily and Steele, lingering by the doorway to that room. That room. Hannah's nursery, or at least it was supposed to be one, until things in this place have gone haywire. I can't even bring myself to look at it.
Are you all right? You Bampot. Don't just run off like that. We don't know what's going on in this house.
But the sharp timbre always present in her tone pales in comparison to every voice ringing in my ears, along with Hannah's and the distinct cry of babies somewhere. How many people have died here, I wonder? How many of them are still trapped in here? Because it isn't just that creature's murmurs and pleas that I hear. It isn't just my wife's, or the life she carried in her. But hundreds, thousands of them. Not that it matters now, when I know I've also doomed Hannah and my own children to this nightmare. Somehow, out of everything, it's the thought of them trapped in here that sets me on the edge, sends my stomach churning, and bile rising to my throat. Then, slowly, a laughter. I also laughed back then, didn't I? The moment my eyes had seen what was to be that of that room. Days later, Shulkin asked if I'm happy. That bastard. Okay, yeah. I was trying to figure out before what he meant by, I hope you're happy. And he meant basically this. I hope you're happy that you killed your wife. Yeah. No, it's pretty clear. Luke is not. I suppose I have a clear answer now. There's no happiness in this. Despite the chuckles and the giggles spilling forth, there's only a hollow void.
I don't deserve them, Daisy! Any of them!
And there's only one way to fix this. One way to correct a mistake. Mistake. Is it even one? Isn't this what I want for myself? To have everything? Money, power, hell, even women? Don't I have that freedom now and so much more? I married her for this. This has always been the plan, and had things not been drilled to get rid of the dad, been derailed. Get rid of the dad, marry the starry-eyed heiress, acquire the company, and make her disappear. Make it appear like a terrible accident. Clean, efficient. Yet somehow it feels wrong to use that word. I loved her, didn't I? This is a sin, more like. Perhaps one that deserves an equal punishment of death, a life for a life, sort of deal. Payment of the countless other lives I've also ruined and ended to get where I am. There used to be satisfaction in this, in getting what I want. Now I only feel remorse.
This is going to get me, no matter what I do, isn't it?
Luke, we can't stay here. We have to find a way out. We have to...
Go.
What? What are you talking about?
You heard me, Daisy. Go. Leave. Have you also gone deaf now?
Sir, is this about what we said? Forget about that. We're not leaving anyone here. Ash wouldn't want that.
As if I give a damn shite about him, he still pisses me off. If anything, he should be the one thanking me. I'm saving his friends. I suppose I should make note of that. Something to keep in mind in case we're ever going to meet in the afterlife. Provided we end up in the same place. The crap I've done, I'll likely end up in the 7th level of hell. Funny how easy it is to think of these things with your death looming over you. Or maybe it's simply because I'm getting old. Well, not that old, but it certainly feels like it. I've done a lot of shitty stuff in my lifetime. So maybe this one time, I might as well do some good. Pushing myself off the floor as I struggle on its own is a struggle on its own, more from the metaphorical weight on my shoulders than the pain in my limbs or this headache. There's no backing out now, I suppose. Even if Daisy still doesn't quite understand what I mean, there she sits, looking up at me, with nothing but worry. I wonder in a different lifetime we would have become friends. Yes, you would have! In my other playthrough, you guys are practically friends! Kind of. Had I been born to a more decent family, or Damien Wright took me away from the slums before I even learned how to use a knife.
Daisy, do fetch me one final drink, would you? There's a stash in that dresser beside you.
How he said stash. Whiskey. I don't... Oasis? Yeah, Oasis whiskey. Looks like a fox. Or maybe it's a panda on that thing. I don't know. Anyway. I don't know my booze, I'm sorry. She quietly hands me one as I have requested, but only after a look of protest flickers across her face. I look at anywhere but her, fixating on the colorful glass bottle she's just handed over to me before I pop open the cork and take a swig. Or rather, a huge chug of the stuff. There's some delight when I feel a delightful burn in the back of my throat and realize that it isn't exactly wine I have in my hand. Whiskey. How quaint. How fitting. This explains where the rest of the alcohol is.
This isn't the time for some booze, Luke. We're still stuck in this bloody nightmare. A little sense of self-preservation from you would be really nice.
Such a nag. Though I don't think Hana would much appreciate me drinking in our room either. Or at all, if she has anything to say about it. Probably say something scathing and witty like, "You might as well shoot yourself in the liver, Lucille, right? Really now." Well, she can just tell me about it once we see each other again.
You, Steel, isn't it? Make sure your friends make it out of this place in one piece. That shouldn't be too hard for you, right?
Wait, what about you?
For all the weakness he displays, at least this man knows the right questions to ask. And that is exactly when it dawns on Daisy, her concern quickly melting into an expression of utter horror. Any other day, I would have laughed loudly at that. To think she cares. I'm almost touched.
What are you... Don't be ridiculous, you ball bag!
You're kidding, right? Look, Wright! Mr. Wright, there must be some other way.
This isn't going to solve anything, you numpty! You're just giving her what she...
Daisy, Rebecca, do me a favor and watch over Kylie for me. The Rugrat shouldn't be allowed more than one glass of parfait a day. Her father spoils her too much.
Sure, okay.
Why don't you do that yourself? I'm not her godparent, you are!
I have to stifle the giggles that threaten to spill uncontrollably. I'm not yet drunk, but I might as well be. Losing my mind, maybe.
I'm afraid I won't be able to. You're going to have to apologize to her for me as well. You see, Daisy, where I'm going, there's no coming back from.
A smile. Then, I'm dousing the whole room with the remaining liquor, before a word escapes their mouths. They can only watch. I can tell they don't approve of this, but what can they do? It's my house. I can do whatever I want with it. True. And it doesn't take too long for Steele to catch on. You see this ugly side of me more than anyone here. There's still reluctance in him, of course. The man remains soft even for people who have openly hated him. A hesitation in him, even as he's pulling the two women away from the room, quickly ushering them through the doors that should lead them to the hallway.
But, Luke, we can't...
Go on, Daisy. There's nothing left for you here.
A moment of silence, of conflict and pain flashing fleetingly across her face. We never did get along much, Daisy and I. Though right now, I like to think that she has come to care for a rotten bloke like me the way she might do for another friend. Unable to meet my eyes, perhaps out of some uncalled-for guilt, she simply reaches out for both my arms and gives it a light squeeze. And then, in a voice so low and whispered,
This is what you want.
not a question, merely a statement, a fact, one that deserved equal honesty. Funny, I've never been the honest sort.
Yes.
I'm sorry. We're sorry.
The look on Daisy's face before Steele closes the door behind them. Odd. There's no other word for it. Realizing that he had doomed Hana and their children to years of initial torment inside the house, and despite Rebecca's protests, Luke Wright decided. Give the ghost what he wants. I am not ready for this. It's the same one my own mom has given me, along with the same words, a gift. I considered them back then. I never understood the use for it. It's not like she didn't care, or she didn't take care of me like a mother should. Eleanor Chandelier did more than that. But seeing such a strikingly similar expression on Daisy, I understand it now. It was not for her misgivings as a mother. It's for all of the what-ifs, could-haves, and should-haves. Things that will never be because it's far too late.
I'm sorry, too.
Yeah. Under the room's low light, the amber liquid gleams tauntingly where it has landed. On the floor. On the bed. On the walls. On every dresser its splattered has reached. It's brighter, of course, when set alight, but I don't wait for it to spread. If I am to die here, this place also has to go, burned to the ground with every sin and horror it hides. I suppose this is the closest I can get to an atonement. Without a single glance back, I take the rest of my liquor stash from the dresser with me, and heading inside the door to Hannah's nursery. It opens to the study before, though with how fucked up this place is, I'm not entirely sure what I'll find next. One thing's certain.
Somebody! Anyone! Help me! Help us! Luke, please! Our children!
Somewhere in this house, she waits. Oh, I can hear her crying. Oh, wow. Music, okay. I allow her voice to lead me, following her cries and pleas. As I go and douse each room I pass with alcohol and set it ablaze. Not a comforting thing to hear, but certainly a better sound than an agonized wail. Amidst the gore and the horror, it's the closest thing I can cling to, including the stray thoughts that has somehow chosen to surface. Short bursts of memories I've always been fond of, more than I care to admit, either out of fear or embarrassment.
How about Botany Bay, Luke? In Kent? It's gorgeous there.
I don't know, Buttercup. Don't you think it's a little too far from here? Remember, I still have a company to manage.
Well, it won't always be that way, yes? And maybe we can also get a dog.
I suppose.
So, someday?
Someday, Buttercup. Someday.
In truth, a half-hearted response spoke out of ignorance or some sort of compliancy over the kind of life I assumed we'll have. Or I'll have. She was never meant to live past the second year of marriage. She has no idea how tempting those partly dreams of hers now. A little house by the beach, a dog, our children, her, and the vast expanse of the sea before us. She was right. We would have been so beautiful. But as the whole of this place smolders, so do those. When I run out of liquor, I simply drop the bottle, take one off from my many nooks I've stashed one. And there's no lack of it in here. The hard stuff, the shorts, the watered-down kind, gifts from a distant relative, friends, so-called friends. You name it. I've made sure there's always one within reach. Hannah has called me out on this numerous times before, telling me I have a problem. I've always told her she doesn't know the half of it, before completely dismissing her concerns.
Oh, worry what? That woman.
Right now, however, I'll give everything to hear her say that again. If only for the last time. With each room I pass and burn, the place becomes easier to navigate, as if it's slowly righting itself, turning to what it's supposed to be. Soon I finally find myself standing before the door to the attic. From the bedroom nearby, the strong odor of burning wood, cloth, and varnish alike wafts from under the door, slowly filling the hall with a thick black smoke. Hopefully, Steele is able to get his friends out of here before it's too late. The blaze has already started in earnest in every part of the house. I can already feel the heat seeping from the rooms I've set aflame. In a matter of minutes, flames will engulf the whole house. But there's one more place left. Upstairs, where her cries echo from. My feet fall hard and heavy against the old steps, a steep, rickety thing that should have been fixed during renovation. I suppose it's only fitting that this is where I make this march, trapped in the highest part of this place, as the rest of the world burns to the ground with me. A final fall. To death. To her. For some reason, nothing about this scares me, no matter how much I've dreaded this kind of end in the past. There's only a calm, a stillness. The same hush that comes after a terrible storm has swept the countryside. Even as I open the door, I am greeted not by Hana's warm embrace, but her cold, chilling smile. But the reality of this, the terror, doesn't take hold and sink until my knees hit the floor and I hear a whisper in my ear. A voice so familiar yet different, reverberating inside my head in soft murmurs and sighs, while her arms come from behind to rest across my chest.
You came home to us.
I guess hoping to see Hana here is already asking for far too much. Perhaps something I don't deserve even in death. Yet tears flow from my eyes, despite the disappointment. Nothing but lightness and air and the feeling of finally being released from shackles that have scraped me raw. Because at the end of this road is her. And I think this is it. This is how I die. A gradual descent to the abyss as everything around us goes up in flames. Behind me, the window blows out from the heat. But above the piercing sound of shattering glass is the rustling of trees against a light breeze. A passing drift that carries into this room from outside, cold enough to make me shiver, strong enough to fan the flames further. In the distance, I can hear the soft chirping of birds, while the rest of the world stirs, wakes. Ever so slowly, darkness gives way to warm morning hues. The soft rays of the morning sun, all together spilling into the window, stirring a distant memory of a laughter and a tender voice I long to hear one last time.
Thank you.
I did not do it for you.
Dawn at last. And she is free. Dusk to dawn. You've unlocked a memory fragment. Oh. Piecing the past. So she was the one... Yeah. I kind of figured she was the one who did that. Epilogue. Oh, God. I was on the verge of tears. Still am. Like the flames that engulfed the mansion that night, whispers quickly spread across Luxborn City after the incident. Officers who investigated it have deemed the tragedy of the Ermengarde mansion an accident. An unfortunate outcome of a long-rumored domestic dispute between Luke and Hana Wright, killing innocent lives. But for those who still believe in the stories of the old and those who know the truth, it is but a testament of the curse and the secrets the Ermengarde mansion has hidden for centuries. If there will come a time, those will finally be revealed. Only the ashes of the now ruined mansion know. However, on nights when the wind howls and thunder booms across the sky, Some still claim hearing of voices where it once stood. Oh shit, did I not... Oh god. This better be the right end, or I'm gonna be pissed. Of cries and wails that fill the nights and dissipate calls of help for anyone who dares listen. As for those who remain, Zachary Steele decides to give the movie industry another try a year after. This time he brings a film telling of the harrowing experience under the shadow of the Ermengarde Mansion's curse. With the help of Rebecca Gales and Ilabel Santos on production, he is able to bring it to life 2 years later. But unlike his first foray into the indie scene, this one turns out to be a blockbuster hit, gaining him accolades from several award-giving bodies. Although the film has brought him considerable success and opportunities, Zachary claims it'll be the last film he will be making, remarking that he merely wishes to tell the tale. A decision he has yet to change his mind on, much to his fans' disappointment. After the clamor for the movie has died down, he quietly returns to his freelance photography business, living a simple life in the same old apartment away from the spotlight. All the same, he dedicates the film's success in honor of an unnamed friend. Determined to disclose the truth, Rebecca Gales writes a book detailing Luxbourne City's true history. With the help of Professor Andrew Clark, she pieces together every omitted information from current accounts. Charlotte Ermengarde's role in the city's foundation and the truth behind the very woman who built it. This, in spite of the professor's stern warnings against bringing those to light, Charlotte Ermengarde has always been revered by the people of Luxbourne after all. And sure enough, upon publication, it creates a huge stir. Although considered a masterpiece by some, even becoming a bestseller, it's almost met with harsh criticisms from Luxbourne's academic circles. Others believe it an attack on the city's way of life, outright condemning it. It doesn't take long for it to reach controversial status, and mere months after its release, the book becomes the subject of litigation. As a result, it has since been withdrawn from the shelves by the publisher. To date, Rebecca continues the effort to bring it back to the market, knowing its worth, a war that she seems to be winning in time. Doing it not for herself, but for the memory of a dear friend whom the book has been dedicated to. Months after the incident, Isabella Santos has finally found the courage to pursue what she truly wants. Having made enough to keep her family afloat for a few years, with their blessing, she quits her job at Briar Realty Corporation and takes the scholarship offered by the local university. Slowly, she gains recognition, both in the local and international art scene, for her vivid depiction of death and suffering. Although continuously lauded for her talent, no one knows why she has chosen such a dark subject. She has kept mum about it throughout the years. Perhaps the closest answer the curious will get, when she is asked, is the slight shift in her eyes and the wistful look that crosses her face. A quiet glance towards a painting of a young man in her studio. Her best-known work, and strangely, the only one from her collection with an adorant expression of life and of love realized far too late. From the ashes. And it is only during those short, candid moments that she ever smiles again. All that remains. Although now busy with their new lives, after the curse, Isabella Santos, Rebecca Gales, and Zachary Steele remain close friends. A bond that has only grown tighter throughout the years, but even after so long, Ashton Frey's loss is still a grief all of them carry. And on the same day as what became known as the Ermengarde Mansion tragedy to the public, they always make it a point to meet where he lies. Once a year, when they exchange stories and talk like the way they all used to. A shadow of what they were before the tragedy. Their way of coping with the sorrow that still blooms over them. Though they never speak of it, will never, each of them know that his death is a wound that may never heal. They only carry on. Well, and there we go. I'm still gonna be very, very mad if this is not the true end. Yeah. Wow. I honestly don't have words right now. Like I mentioned before, I was close to tears, and I still kind of am. You probably could tell hearing it in my voice. Pretty well of what was happening. But yeah. This is a great game, honestly. A really good game, and obviously so many people have played it by now. It's been well over a year since it's come out, and it took me that long to finish the darn thing. But I honestly think that what these guys were able to accomplish, what they've made, the love that they put into this, in the story, and the characters, the atmosphere, the voicing, everything. It was really, really good. You can tell the amount of care that they had for this game. I'm honestly, even though I know that they're going to be working on a more of a harem visual novel next, I honestly think that I would like to see more of this kind of stuff from them as well. But I'll go more into that after this. So. I'll actually read it this time. Dear you, if you're reading this, that means you finished playing the game in one way or another. And we thank you for the time you've spent in playing the letter. This game is our passion project more than anything, and we sincerely hope we delivered in bringing you a one-of-a-kind visual novel experience. The letter is hopefully the first of many visual novels coming from us. If you liked what we did with this game and would like to support us, please consider donating to our Patreon account. You can also follow us on social media to get the latest updates. Our usual handle is Yang Yang Mobile. Thank you so much for everything. Let's talk soon. Love, Yang Yang Mobile Team. Oh, that's it. Okay. So then I wonder with the miscellaneous thing here, these two, I thought I'd get the, this if I got the good ending, but I wonder if I get this with another ending or something like that. But yeah, I mean, it's pretty clear that within this game that there are so many options. I mean, like, look at all this. I got only 103. So, I mean, there's just so much stuff in here. Like, I know this is clearly the true ending. I was thinking to myself, it's better be the true ending or I'm gonna be mad. But after that whole thing, I really think it is. Holy Christmas in regards to, true ending, 66%. So, I'm wondering, though, what it is I missed here for these two. I'm not sure what, but I got the true ending. I mean, I know in this game there's so many variables, you have to get a certain percent for stuff to get all the things, certain way for a relationship, things like that. I know there's also the option to basically kill all the characters and get a bad end. I don't know, I think I'll do that one though on my own time. I've done enough of this game. This is part 44. Honestly, this was a really great game. It took me forever to finish. I heavily enjoyed it. I love the characters. I love the dialogue. I love all of the branching narrative. I have a feeling if I had picked that other option with Luke, he would have just left the house or something and maybe locked those people inside. Locked Rebecca, Isabella, and Zach inside the house and basically saved his own skin. Which is a dick move. But I have a feeling that's what could have happened as well. But I also kind of like that in regards with Luke and Rebecca specifically, a lot of people, I'm sure, if they were doing this, they would have chosen to have Rebecca just be horrible or whatever and all that kind of stuff. But I, for the most part, chose to kind of stay somewhat nice to Luke with Rebecca, at least in regards to Kylie, since, Kylie is someone in her school, someone she cares about, and all that kind of stuff. I know I've heard that there's also, like, a possessed ending for Hana. Yeah, for Hana, there's, like, potentially a possessed ending as well. So I'm kind of curious about that. But I'm honestly probably gonna do that on my own because I'd rather you guys, who's ever watching this, find out for yourself. Like what your options, because again, there's so many different combinations with get away from that, with all of this. So many different things that could happen. God, I don't even know how to even try to get all of this. I mean, there's probably a bunch of other YouTubers who have completely picked different options, done different things to get to where they were. I know there's one YouTuber that has played this game, which is Manly Badass Hero. I follow him on YouTube as well. He's honestly really, really good. I remember first starting to watch the letter while I was recording this way back. But I stopped because I'm like, I don't want to see all of his choices and it'll influence my choices and yada yada yada. Because I wanted to decide what I would make. Because, I mean, when you go to like load game, I basically filled out almost all of this just for options. Because I wanted, like especially on my first playthrough, I really wanted all the characters to like each other. Canonically in my head, everyone lives. Everyone lives. Luke is not a total dirtbag. He's a great dad. He's good with Kylie. Him and Rebecca are best of buds. The ghost doesn't kill Kylie at the end. I mean, these are like my final thoughts on the matter, and it's all jumbled. It's not that great. I honestly think, for anyone who's played this game, for anyone who's interested in visual novel and horror, a lot of visual novels I find are pretty narrative, can be pretty narrative, which is not bad at all on its own. The fact that there's so much time, effort, and all these different options and outcomes and choices, it shows the amount of dedication and love. I mentioned this before during the credits, that Yang Yang Mobile has for this game, and it is incredible, and it is endearing, and I want to see more. I actually kind of wish they don't give you all the answers. I was thinking like, oh, we'll get all the answers if we get to the true ending. No, with with the miscellaneous memories, it's really, you gotta piece it all together and find out what it has happened and whatnot. But I'm also gonna say that I would honestly, this is like its own game. Concise, complete, doesn't need a sequel. But I would love a sequel with the characters, that own kind of story in another type of situation, or heck, characters that are related to Isabella, to Zach, to Rebecca, and that kind of story I think would be interesting. Originally, when I was writing my Mansion of Dolls story, I could picture it as a game. Granted, it would be a lot more narrative based in comparison to like a whole bunch of branching paths, choices, whatnot. I think it would be really interesting to see as a video game. I mean, there's so much you can do with horror, and it used a lot of jump scares and tropes and things like that and so on and so forth. It used it in a way that, for me personally, felt new. Like the whole thing with the letter, when, back with Isabella, when she went and we went to her back to BRC and we found photocopies, and I even mentioned too with the original letter how the blood looked different on the actual letter with the send to 5 people or else. And of course we found out too in my first playthrough that it was a bunch of kids from Rebecca's school who wrote send to 5 people or else, and they were apparently going to, like, it didn't click to me then that they were also going to use it and send it to Kylie's brother, basically, to scare him and whatnot. But I'm kind of curious with Kylie what her connection though was with the ghost, because that was never really mentioned or talked about, and it doesn't have to. I'm curious though in regards to just when the ghost, was it because these kids knew her brother and this ghost decided, and the ghost decided to latch on to her, or if there was some reason. Actually, now that I think about it, it would be kind of cool to see a game involving with Kylie, like her older, more mature, maybe as an adult or whatnot, and dealing with her own. It doesn't necessarily have to be paranormal, or maybe it can, and she does research and finds out about this ghost, and maybe, I don't know, goes to Japan or something. I don't know, but anyway, I've been babbling on for a while. This game is great. This game is awesome. Anyone who, again, I said this before, gonna say it again because I'm gonna repeat it. Anyone who's a fan of horror, visual novels, great voice acting, great artwork, great story, great narrative in general, and a bunch of branching paths that actually means something and not, oh, pick a color. End of the world. I did mention before that part of me is sad that this is going to be over. Like, again, I mentioned that they're working on a visual novel, another visual novel, and it's a harem-based one. Personally, I've never been a huge fan of harem stories, but that's just me personally. I'm still gonna definitely want to support these people. Like, go on Patreon, guys. Go support them if you want more games like this. Would really love to see one with Kylie at the helm, like her doing all that and something like that. I don't know. Maybe I'll pitch that idea to Yang Yang Noble. It's like, hey, but I'm a nobody. What do I know? Anyway, guys, as for another game, I have a few in mind. They're not going to be visual novels. Well, one is, but I think I might hold off on that for a while. Actually, no, two are. But I think I'm going to hold off doing a visual novel for now, just to give that a bit of a break. With that, I'll hopefully get to whatever game I want to play next soon. And I hope you guys all have a wonderful night, day, week, whenever. And I'll see you all next time. Bye, guys!